South Florida Sports. So Flo Spos. Welcome back, everybody, to the second episode of So Flo Spos. I'm going to try to be a little more eloquent than I was the first time around. In that first episode, I had to give myself some constructive criticism, and I'm sure a lot of you who have heard this already kind of gave me that, and I'm thankful for it. I did make some changes. If you saw, I changed the intro, which apparently everyone hated. I loved it. I just said So Flo Spos in different ways. It was just the first time, all right? Calm down, guys. Maybe if I get some good production one day, maybe if you guys blow this shit up, maybe we could get some money into this and I'll have some fancy ladies singing vocals about South Florida sports. But for now, just take what you can get and get the information how it comes, baby. That's all you gotta do. All right, now onto the fun stuff. I hope a lot of you didn't leave because the jokes were too much before the sports even got. It's okay, guys. I'm here. It's gonna be fun. Don't leave at the first sign of fucking some shit going wrong. Things are gonna go wrong. All right. That being said, let's make those revenue dollars. This show is brought to you by Miami Dolphins lubricating jelly. For when those times you don't think you can get fucked any deeper, look to the Miami Dolphins. They will find a way. All right, in all seriousness, before we start laying in on the Dolphins, just wanted to get to the other news relevant in South Florida sports. I'm dying for any Heat news, dying for the season to get started. I have high hopes for this team. I definitely think we're going to be a playoff team this year. I think Norman Powell is an underrated player that is a very Heat culture type of guy. I really think that was a great move, the best move we've made since pretty much getting Jimmy. So let's see how it turns out. I do think Norman Powell has been waiting to become the guy, and I think that he has that opportunity here. I really hope he takes it. I did hear that the Heat were looking into Precious Achiuwa. I do think that he is a decent backup center. We originally drafted him, and he just never felt right in any other uniform, especially a Knicks uniform. Every time I saw him, I cringed. I was like, oh, man, I hope this guy doesn't become anything with them because we let him go. And I was a fan. I thought that he had promise. He was just – I didn't expect him to become the starting center. Bam is going to be that. But I definitely thought he could be the backup and play some serviceable role, a serviceable role. And definitely, just produce for us. We'll see. We'll see if that even comes to fruition. Hopefully we re-sign him. Awesome. Great. I'll be honest. I want to focus on the Dolphins, but I will make mention of the Canes. I think that the U is back. It's not just because of the games we played this year. It's the games from last year to this year. Basically, it seems that college football, especially with the transfer portal and now with the NIL, has become like a year-to-year thing where your quarterback is going to leave. People are going to come in and out. And it feels like the regime that we have, the sports administrative team that we have in the U, we are now running this type of system. We are running a school program that is going to consistently get wins, that is going to consistently at least put out a decent product. In college football now, that's all you can really ask for. In any sport. People don't know this, or at least bad teams don't know this. I know it because I have been a fan of the Miami Heat. The Heat necessarily in the last few years, they haven't won a lot of championships, but they've been to the finals several times. They've gone deep. They've made the playoffs consistently. Even on the bubble, they got to the bubble and they won. You have to appreciate things for what they are. The journey, it's not always where you end that it's going to give you the satisfaction. The journey itself gives you part of that satisfaction. And literally, it has been a positive. It has been enjoyable. It has been a quality product that the Heat have put out. Like, that's what makes me want to keep watching. It makes me a fan, keeps me optimistic. The Heat, I don't question their decision making. They do great things. Now, to tie that back to the Canes, it's the same thing. Now you can see that after last year, we had a great season. Cam Ward with the Heisman year. Now this year, what was going to happen? We had a new quarterback coming in. All our wide receivers left. Literally, you can now see that a second year in a row, we are a great program, a decent program. It seems like even a better team this year than last year. So that kind of promise looks great for the Canes. I think that the Canes look like a very good team this year. I don't think it's all hype. They look like definitely a top 10 team. Hopefully a national championship team. Their defensive front is incredible. Ruben Bain looks like the truth. He looks like an NFL player. He is dominant in the front, and he makes you notice him. So in the offense, Carson Beck, he seems like a game manager. Is he the best quarterback in college football? I don't think so. But he can win you games. And if you have a decent defense, I am a personal believer that defense wins championships. Offense is harder to come by than defense is. Defense is more consistent. So if you can just be very good defensively, you're going to always have a chance to win. I saw that. I saw that in the Brian Flores era with the Miami Dolphins. We didn't necessarily have a great offense or have all of these killer weapons, but that defense was keeping people in check, and it was exciting. It was exciting to watch that kind of production from the defensive side, something that has been lacking ever since he left. And so that is why I think the Canes are legitimate. They have a legitimate defense. They have an offense that can produce. We have good running backs. I think the real test will come when we play FSU this year, and I think it's going to be a great game, and I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to beat the Gators this week coming up. If I had to put a number on it, I would say something around like 42-16 or maybe 38-16, something like that. The Gators don't really scare me. I saw them play. I think that the way that LSU played against UF, it lets me believe that UM is better than LSU as well. But whatever, that's assuming a lot of things. I just think that when it comes down to the college football playoff, that's going to be taken into consideration. So it is what it is. I can't wait to really see the game this week. That's going to be what really gives me like a good barometer on what the Canes really are. If they can really beat up on the Gators how they should, it's going to just further solidify that the U is back, man. That the U is just people need to be worried about this team. I definitely think they do. I'm waiting till we see some big boys up front. But Notre Dame always has a good offensive line, and we all saw how that turned out. So I expect us to compete with anybody in the nation. But I think we've put it off for long enough. I think we've got to do our Wednesday night prayer for the Thursday night Miami Dolphins game versus the Buffalo Bills. I want to ask you, Lord, please, come on, pull through for us. We need a big loss this week. Please don't let Tua pull this out somehow and literally ruin our chances for the first overall pick or a top 5 pick. Please don't let them do something like that. This team's biggest problem the last few years, literally the last 2 decades, has been mediocrity. The 8-8 mindset. That is our motto, to be mediocre, the Miami Dolphins. And I'm sick of it, It's time to drop the dead weight. No more half measures. We need to cut the dead weight. We need to let go of Chris Grier, the GM. He's the head. He created the culture. He hired the coach. He chose the players to run his vision. His vision is the toxic one. It's the one that's remained. It is the only poisoned apple of the bunch. It's the most poisoned apple of the bunch. At this point, all the apples are rotten because of that disgusting, putrid apple right in the middle called Chris Grier. And right around him is Mike McDaniel. Unfortunately, he got stuck to him. That poison, that rottenness spoiled him too. He's not a bad guy. He loves to do the rigmarole and yammer and talk in circles. He's a smart guy, but he outsmarts himself type deal. I think it's just time to move on. You're anchored to the wrong ship, and that ship is going down. And I just think no more half measures. I don't even want to bring in Anthony Weaver or anybody else or Darrell Bevel from this coaching staff. That's another half measure. I think we just need to start fresh and even bring in a brand new interim head coach. Some people are clamoring to see what either of the coordinators have as head coaching material, but that would just be more of the same. I don't know why anyone would want that. This team needs a proven leader, someone who has proven that they can win a Super Bowl at the very least as a coach. But I'll tell you right now, even if we were to get a great coach, I don't know. I don't even want to speculate a great coach. If we would have gotten a great coach that I like Mike Tomlin, if you have Chris Grier making the picks, I just don't think he can make it work either. He can't make, chicken salad out of chicken shit. That's just not how it works. And so, I think first Chris Grier has to go. We need to bring a new GM. I would love to bring in Belichick as the GM. I think that he has a great football mind. He ran most of his drafts. He's a great offensive line mind. He believes in having a good offensive line. I think that's what ultimately hindering and crippling this team. So, someone like that at the front would be like the best thing that could happen to the Dolphins. And, I would trust whoever he would bring in to coach. He'd probably bring in this freaking guy, the coordinator that he loves so much, Josh McDaniels, man. I would really hate that shit. But, I think that he wants to get the record as a head coach. So I would bring him in as either a GM, president of operations, or head coach, anything that he'd want, to be honest. I think that he would help fix the O-line problem, regardless of what the other positions are. Having a great football mind and having someone who was basically the opposite of what Mike McDaniels is now being framed as a nerd boy who's like a pushover. Bill Belichick was the mastermind, and he was the, give no shits or, take no shits from anyone. He was the hard ass, you party too hard, you were going to see Bill Belichick about it. That's kind of like the opposite of what the Dolphins culture currently is, especially, I guess, what's been publicized in the media. So I do think that a guy like that would bring, instant credibility to any front office except this one. Chris Grier, he needs to fucking go. So, and then having him choose the coach or him be the coach, having a decent GM, that's where it starts. I really think the GM is where the culture starts. If he makes a smart move on the coach, someone who's experienced, someone who has promise, who's possibly won a ring before, a Super Bowl ring, that's everything. If we can get someone like that, a GM to bring in someone like that, that's to me the first sign of, things are going in the right direction. Some head coaches I've heard mention that I would be interested in, like I said, Bill Belichick, Doug Peterson, former Jacksonville coach and Philadelphia Eagles coach before Nick Sirianni, who kind of like, took them, finished it off and had this modern run with the Eagles. But Doug Peterson, he still had that, they had that good team there that went to the Super Bowl as well. I think that, the real MVP in Philadelphia is their GM. That guy is making great moves. He's been making great moves throughout the drafts for years now, in free agency and through trades. I'm not gonna lie, that guy is, from the outside looking in, you can tell that they're always making great moves to improve that team however possible. I think I used to see that back in the day with the Patriots, and then I saw it a little bit with the Kansas City Chiefs, but that's died down. And it just seems like the Eagles are the ones consistently making great moves. The Baltimore Ravens are a close second in that same regard. They're just always constantly churning that roster over however possible, making like the moves that I wish the Dolphins would make somehow, and they just never can. So I definitely think that that's where it begins. I'll give a little, I guess, preview of the Thursday night game, the Thursday night miracle that some people are hoping for. I just really hope you guys get your hearts broken and that we don't win this game in any freaking way. That would only hurt this team's future. I do not want to win. Not for Thursday. I want them to get their souls crushed. I want Tyreek and Tua to be front page fighting. I'm telling you, I can feel it coming already. They are trying Tyreek. Some of the things Tua is saying about, it's up to Tyreek to get open on these routes. Yeah, of course it is. That doesn't even need to be said. Like, why are you even talking about this now? I never talked about it before. It's just like the team is imploding, and I want to see it continue. And the way that continues is an absolute just horrible loss on to the Buffalo Bills. I really see it happening, but the way that like this regime really finds ways to fuck it up, I could also see us even winning the game. Like just out of nowhere, meaningless win that is going to do nothing for no one, and we're likely going to lose every single other game just because that's how things work sometimes. It's ridiculous. The Dolphins find ways to be mediocre. When they need to be bad, they're good, and when they need to be good, they're bad. It's just they don't help you in any way. So I'm all for it, whatever happens. I'm not gonna watch. I'm gonna bet heavily against the Miami Dolphins, the team that I love, in hopes of a better draft pick. And I just think logically, we're gonna lose that game. That is a top tier team with a top tier quarterback, top tier running back, top tier offensive line, top tier defense, and we are a trash dumpster fire at all levels. The special teams looks better this year. I'll give them that. They're putting Matt Judon out there. Wow, that is crazy. You're putting starting or backup defensive linemen to be punt return and kick return specialists. I don't know. I honestly, those are the types of moves that make me question how serious serious these people are. Like, what are they doing? Are they trying to break Matt Judon? Is he the new guy? They're trying to make him prove himself again. The vet. That guy was just came off a huge contract. Like, just because I guess he's going to play for the minimum, you're going to make him play special teams? I don't get it. That I don't get. Whatever. It is what it is. That's the kind of stuff that Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins do. The type of like clown show they're running. I'll be waiting for the end of it. This is hopefully coming to an end soon. I'm telling you, I don't think these people make it to the end of the year. I don't know how they could, especially if they keep losing, and that's what I'm waiting for. Some people might call me a bad fan. Go ahead. I've never really felt like this before, but the reality is time for a change, man. I've been wanting a change. So I'm just tired of waiting for it. This change should have came a long time ago when they squandered, the war chest of picks that we had, the first round picks. It's time. It's time we move on and seek greener pastures and we cut bait because these guys ain't doing it anymore. And I'll leave you with that. It's Wednesday, the day before Thursday night football. I'll leave you with a final score of the Buffalo Bills with 38 and the Miami Dolphins with 18. And I actually think the spread may be worse. So it is what it is. Have fun. Enjoy the team for now. Changes are going to come. I can't wait. I'll be here for it. I'll see you on the other side to tell you guys I told you so and be waiting to see what happens. It's crazy because the crazy part about this team is you know that Tua is so injury prone. He's likely going to get injured. You go out and you get some of the worst backups you could possibly get. And then you're saying you're not tanking. If you're not tanking and you're making these horrible moves, man, you are just a horrible front office. Zach Wilson is our backup. Quentin Ewers is our third quarterback. Like when we could have had Shador, we could have had so many others. Not just him. It's sad. It's sad and funny. You have to laugh at it that this team doesn't stop getting in its own way, and it won't. It won't till some change is made. All right. So that's the end of the second show ever. You guys leave me some comments. Tell me if you like it. I think it should be a better quality this time. If not, let me know. Skewer me. I'll see you guys on the other side. Week 3, episode 3. Let's go. So Flo Spos.